One weird thing happens to me all the time. I always forget what I learned or misunderstand the things I was taught. Every time I thought I was correct, I found out that I was wrong. But why? Is it because I have bad memorization skills? No. I figured out that it's because that I haven't united my actions and knowledges. So, what does uniting actions and knowledges mean? My understanding is that you have to try out the things you learn. When you learn something, you couldn't just stop there and satisfy with what you have. But instead, experience it, turn it into an action, and figure it out. Actions and knowledges are both important parts of learning, and losing one of them limits you from figuring out the why of things in the universe. In my perspective, learning should be put into a cycle, and only by doing this, you will be able to truly learn something. Just last summer, I couldn't understand this concept. The world seemed fake for me. The things I learned aren't the same when I actually experience it. All went wrong until the trip to Barcelona. Last summer, I got this invitation from my tennis coach saying that I might get a chance to go to Barcelona for a professional tennis camp. How lucky! I immediately agreed. On the 13-hour plane, I tried to get myself prepared mentally. I didn't really know where Barcelona is. Well, I watch tennis and know that Nadal and Alcaraz are from Spain. I know that people there speak Spanish, and although I'm not into the Spanish cuisine, but I've tried the paella, I thought I knew what Spain was like until I got there. I wondered, how come the things I already knew felt unknown when I actually do it? This question has confused me since the day I got to Barcelona. During the days there, more and more of the things I knew felt unknown for me. In my first week in Barcelona, I was confident, a little too confident. I said, I want to play like Nadal. Those thoughts disappeared the first day I got into the camp. I used to think that the way to train tennis is simply just to play more and more on the court. But after training 8 hours a day, I realized the difference between what I thought and what's actually the case. In those 8 hours, we not just played tennis. We did hours of fitness, strategic training, and many other things that seemed irrelevant to tennis. I didn't know that. I interviewed one of these Chinese tennis players there, taking his freshman year in school. He said that he spent 10 hours to train in China, but the training he did in China was only hitting the ball harder and harder. Here in Barcelona, although he trained 7 hours, but it has a variety of training activities and is more efficient. My simple thought that tennis was just hitting the ball hard was broken. The complete training at the camp shows how complex the sport is. It made me know that there's a big difference between knowing basic rules and really understanding what the sport needs. The experience at the tennis camp shows that action is needed to close the gap between what we think we know about a skill and what it really is. The trip to Barcelona was like a small example of the bigger lesson that hands-on experience is important for getting real knowledge. Lying on bed that day, I realized that tennis seemed different to me. During the days in Barcelona, I kept trying what the coach tells me, to not just play on the court, but also do fitness, footwork, and balance training. And after all those work, training while learning, and learning while training, I was able to play better tennis and finally finish the cycle. But no, this cycle has to be kept on continuing for the rest of my life in order to let me learn more and more. After tennis training, I started my 2-day weekend tour through the city, Barcelona. During this time, I had a cultural shock. One day, we were going to Sagrada Familia, and outside of the building stands a band and people dancing. I knew that there were dancers in Barcelona, but I've never seen anyone dance in public. I quickly marched away, hoping that it's not one of those scams. You'll never see this in China. Later, one of the men calls us to dance with them and invited all the guests that were lining up to enter Sagrada Familia. I was shocked, and I didn't know what to do. But I still joined and danced with the man, which turned out was pretty fun. And that is when I realized that I should appreciate other cultures, no matter if they feel right for me. Flying back to Shanghai, I had a feeling that only by experiencing something, you can understand its real nature. The situation at Sagrada Familia was a great cultural lesson. My first reaction of suspicion came from my own culture not being used to such public celebrations. But when I joined the dancing, I broke free from my old ideas. This experience taught me that to understand and like other cultures, we need to take part and act. We usually learn about different cultures from books or media, but only by being actively involved can we really understand and respect them. This cultural experience further proves that action is the key to turn our limited knowledge into a deeper and more meaningful understanding of the world. Coming back from Barcelona, I reflected what I did there. I figured out that all my learning progress should be in a cycle. Starting from learning, I should then make an action, apply it to life, or experience it by hand. And only by doing that, I could learn new things again, experience them again, repeatedly, making it into a cycle. But the question is, why? I thought about it. Then a piece of memory pops up. The time when I always forget what I learned or misunderstand the things I was taught. Reflecting on it, I finally came up with a conclusion. These problems are all caused by me not uniting my knowledges and actions. The trip to Barcelona taught me to make my learning progress into a cycle, uniting my knowledges and actions. I once learned that better tennis equals to the time you play on the court, but the athletes taught me that it wasn't. I experienced it, and I've learned deeper things. I think figuring out the why isn't just stopping after we get the knowledge, but more importantly, applying the answer into our lives, turning it into an action. And by doing that, we could learn and experience again and again, figuring out what the world is like in a variety of fields, no matter athletically, mentally, or culturally. And only by doing that, we could learn things that are hidden under the mask of what seemed like the definite truth. So, what can I say if you ask me? How come the things I already knew felt unknown when I actually do it? I guess I say that I figured out why. Thank you.